The Midlands labor vote has not come in, and that vote is going to go to leave. And it did. And then what? 5 or 6 months later, Donald Trump wins the presidency. When I came into the campaign of Trump in mid-August, Trump was down 16 points, double digits down in most of the battleground states. Not a lot of organization, not a tremendous amount of money. When I talked to candidate Trump, I said, forget all those numbers. Forget 16 down, forget all the double digits down. It's not relevant. Here's only two things that are relevant. 2/3, 1/3. Two-thirds of our countrymen still think the country's on the wrong track. The same number that existed when Barack Obama won the presidency. They like Obama personally, but they do not believe he delivered the change the country needs. The more important number is from Pat Cadell, longtime Democratic pollster to Jimmy Carter. His analysis showed for the first time in American history, 75% of our countrymen believe America's in decline. And when you look at the crosstabs, the working class and the lower middle class are the two classes that are not prepared to accept that. And they will back a leader that will return America to its former glory. And yes, make America great again. So from August 14th on, it's very simple. We're going to compare and contrast. We're going to hold her up, Hillary Rodham Clinton, who's been running for president of the United States since she was 6 years old, right? That's all they think about. She's ambitious as Lucifer. And I say that in recognition of Milton. But she's the guardian of an incompetent and corrupt establishment. The party of Davos, that have gotten us into this fix and have no solution but to bail themselves out and let the devil catch the hindmost. And that Trump is going to be the tribune of the people and run as a populist and a nationalist. And we're going to simplify this campaign to 3 basic buckets. Number one, we're going to stop mass illegal immigration and limit legal immigration to get our sovereignty back and to protect our workers. Protect our workers against mass illegal immigration that has an unlimited pool of labor to compete against them and destroys the schools and destroys the healthcare system. And we're going to limit legal immigration so that finally American citizens can start to get high value-added technology jobs. Number two, we're going to bring manufacturing jobs back, and we're going to bring manufacturing jobs back from China. And number three, we're going to get out of these pointless foreign wars that are bleeding us out. On November 9th at 2:30 in the morning, Donald Trump was elected president-elect of the United States. I told him for the whole time, you go on this path, metaphysical certitude, including on Billy Bush weekend. On Billy Bush weekend, I said, they don't care. We're going around the table, and guys are saying, you know, drop out, go in 60 minutes. I said, they don't care. They don't care. Hillary Clinton on September 10th had named him. The contempt she holds for fellow Americans. On September 10th, on Wall Street, before Barbara Streisand sings to an elite group of swells that were going to raise $5 million for her campaign, which is $2.2 billion, all the money they threw in. She gets up and in prepared remarks, not off the top of her head, prepared remarks, she refers to half of the Trump electorate as deplorables and irredeemable. From a Democrat, working class people, Reagan Democrats, deplorable, irredeemable? Because that's what they think. Remember, if you own intellectual property, if you own the control of the manufacturing assets, it's absolutely logical to ship the production overseas, to outsource it. You don't care about these people, they don't matter. They don't matter how they get along. The basis of populism and economic nationalism is different than the Austrian School of Economics. People and societies are more than mathematics. People and societies are more than just units of production. It's a civic society. that underpins this. J.D. Vance, who wrote Hillbilly Elegies, reminded me of these great studies done at MIT and Harvard that showed that the factories that moved to China, the jobs and billets that went with them, is exactly where the opioid crisis today. When we fight for terrorists, we're just not fighting for the economy of jobs to come back. We're fighting for dignity. We're fighting for self-worth. And yes, things may cost a little more money. Is that the end of the world? Is it the end of the world if wages rise? If Wall Street goes crazy, we got to go to the Fed. The worst thing, wages are rising. Let's increase interest rates. Remember, economic nationalism, and this is why I've given this speech and this part of it 100 times, and the opposition party media is too gutless to report on it, because it cuts to the heart of the globalist agenda. Economic nationalism doesn't care about your color, your race, your ethnicity, your religion, your gender. It doesn't care about your sexual preference. It doesn't care about any of that. It just cares about one thing in America, that you're a citizen of the United States of America. If you're a citizen, you're going to get a better deal, because you deserve a better deal. Because you've been paying, and the generations that came before you have been paying for this apparatus. And you've been paying with your treasure, and you've been paying with your blood. Yeah, Trump's a disruptor.
15 minutes.
Economic nationalism. I'm going to take a couple minutes of Lanny's rebuttal. Economic nationalism has already proven its work. It's already proven by the 3% growth we have in the economy. It has proven it by historic low unemployment among black Americans, 15 or 20-year unemployment numbers, low unemployment as Hispanic. Wages are rising among the working class, because we start to put a premium to come to the United States and sell your products. What they really hate Trump about, and we'll talk more in the question and answers, is the fetish of the post-war international rules-based order. That is a collection from Western Europe and the EU through the Persian Gulf to the South China Sea to the Northwest Pacific. It is a series of commercial relationships, trade deals, capital markets, and alliances or national security transactions or deals. The United States pays $1 trillion a year for that. Our budget's not $780 billion. That's what just passed. You add in intelligence, you add in everything. You're fully loaded, it's $1 trillion. You know why? We underwrite the whole thing. You were so eloquent in your opening and said how appreciative you are. Well, show me some appreciation. Act like an ally and not like a protectorate. We have protectorates in NATO. We have protectorates in the Persian Gulf. We have protections in the littoral nations of the South China Sea. We have protectorates in the Northwest Pacific. Every nation, virtually, we're upside down on trade. We're upside down on the commercial relationships. We underwrite the security with our tax dollars, and more importantly, it's the deplorable sons and daughters in the Hindu Kush, on the ships in the South China Sea, and manning the front line of the 28,000 troops in Korea. I'm come from a blue-collar Democratic family. I'm a former naval officer. My daughter's a West Point graduate and fought with the 101st Airborne in Iraq. And we're nothing extraordinary. We're just average Americans. It's time for our allies to step up. Do you know how demeaning it is to talk to Europe, being given World War I and World War II and the Cold War? You know how demeaning it is, particularly for veterans, to have to sit here with a cup in a hand and ask Germany, would you please pay your 2%? The entire NATO can't deliver, what, 3 combat divisions? You're so worried about Russia. You're so worried about Russia. But then worry about it. Worry about the tanks coming across the Fulda Gap. Worry about coming through the Ukraine. But if you're going to worry, pay for it. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And they should be particularly ashamed of themselves that Donald Trump looks like the bad guy. Donald Trump is the one that's trying to make the partnership work. You're not supposed to be a protectorate. You're supposed to be a partner. And you're supposed to be a partner where it counts. If you think Russia is your biggest threat, I got news for you. That's not in your top 5 threats. Syria alone almost broke up the European Union. Do you understand what would happen if Egypt was to collapse? Do you understand what's going to happen when China, as the East India Company in sub-Saharan Africa, starts forcing people up through North Africa to Europe? That's a crisis. The collapse of Egypt is a crisis that'll make Syria pale in comparison. I know it'll come across as a little heated.
20 minutes.
And here's why. Thank you. Nothing could be more important. And if we don't hold together the Judeo-Christian West in a united front as real partners, not with some American big brother and some protected, as real allies, the dark valley we're going to go through in the next 10 years with China and Persia and Turkey, the dark valley we're going to go through is going to have a very bad conclusion. There's no need for that. And if you follow what Donald Trump's doing and his courage in doing it, I think we'll be much better off as a society, a culture, and an alliance. Thank you very much. Thank the people of Prague. Really appreciate it.